Bira yan sa tao, consider. Not for the money, but for the cause that you believe in. It's really your values that I like. Mabuhay ka, Greco.
Greco Pelika.
You can now listen to RJFM and DZRJ 8:10 a.m. from wherever you are. Just type in RJ 100.3 FM on TuneIn Radio, Streema, Radio Garden, and just type in RJFM for online box radio. For DZRJ 8:10 a.m., just type in DZRJ 8:10 a.m. on TuneIn Radio, Streema, and Radio Garden. Happy listening!
Pasko, Pasko na naman, Pasko na naman sa ating bayan.
Ito po si Attorney Nikki De Vega.
At ako naman po si Attorney Carla Nicolas para sa programang
Ang Buhay at Batas. Bumabati sa inyo ng isang maligayang Pasko at manigong bagong taon.
Ako po si Banat Bay ng Trending News dito sa DZRJ. Bumabati sa inyo ng Blessed Christmas and a Happy New Year. Tuloy-tuloy lang ang banat.
Hi, I'm Barbie Atienza of Good Job Philippines, wishing everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Ito po ang inyong lingkod, Tita Carmen Ignacio ng Palatuntunang Pulso ng Sambayanan na bumabati po sa lahat ng isang maligayang Pasko at manigong bagong taon.
Hello, DZRJ fans! My name is Ira Panganiban of Free Spits. I'm wishing you guys a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I hope you guys have a great time.
May peace and love for one another reign in our hearts in this season and beyond. Have a Merry Christmas and a brighter and prosperous New Year. Jimmy Morato po, tsa-tsahin mo, baby!
Hi, this is Johnny Gomez of Johnny Gomez Live, wishing us all a very meaningful Christmas and the best of 2022. Happy Holidays, Kabandino!
Hi, this is G and Marge Santos of Mystical Buffet.
Season's greetings to everyone. Here are warm wishes for a safe, healthy, and COVID-free 2022.
Merry Christmas!
Hi mga kapuga, dito po ang inyong mga lingkod. Ako po si Mark Lopez.
Si Doc Ethel.
Maricar Serrano.
Darwin Cañete. Tom Berenguer.
Manny Biernes.
Kami po ay bumabati sa inyo ng isang maligayang Pasko at manigong bagong taon.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from all of us at Teleradio Bandido TV.
Pasko, Pasko na naman.
To all Teleradio Bandido viewers and listeners, you can now watch Teleradio Bandido on our new YouTube channel, RJAM News. Hit the subscribe button and like the video. Don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified when a new video gets uploaded. Don't miss out on our dynamite lineup. Radio Bandido, recognized and awarded as protector of your democracy in EDSA 1 and EDSA 2. In 2022, our democracy will be put to the test once again. So Radio Bandido will strike again. Our democratic army is in place to give you unbiased, real news and facts so you yourself can decide. Legendary and game-changing commentators. Our lineup, starting with the legendary Ray Langit, joined by the most influential bloggers in the country, Banat Bay and the Pugad bloggers, and other dynamic commentators, Tita Carmen, Jimmy Morato, Barbie Atienza, Bernard Tan, Johnny Gomez, Pete Morato, Sal Panelo with Sal's Panel O, and more announcers and reporters fighting for democracy. Teleradio Bandido is heard on DZRJ 8:10 a.m., seen on Sky Cable Channel 224, TV Plus boxes, and streaming live on Facebook/DZRJ 8:10 a.m. and YouTube channel RJAM News.
Hello and welcome to the World News Jam right here on DZRJ and RJTV. My name is Eric Lecain, and I am here on the World News Jam with Tolentino. We are bringing you our show live this week here at the RJ Studios in Makati. Lalie, Tolentino, I think this is our last show before Christmas.
Yes.
Christmas is coming up soon.
Yep.
And I know that there's a lot of parties going on in Manila, and part of the reason that I cannot speak well today is because I went to a party and I talked too much at the party, and now my voice doesn't work very well. So, Lalie, Tolentino, you may have to make up for some of the talking today because I can't seem to talk very well. But in any case, I mean, this is one of the interesting things that's going on this year is because the DOH put out a statement that said, you know, that they hope that people would have their Christmas parties virtually this year because the COVID virus is going away, but it's not gone yet. But are people listening? Are people having their parties virtually, or are they just having massive get-togethers like they did in the past?
Well, I can see there's still a lot of people goes to the party. Well, you did go party, right? I saw you, Eric.
I did.
You cannot lie on.
I did. I went to a party that was very loud, and I was yelling to try and hear what people were saying, what they could make me say, and so now I've lost my voice. But yes, I mean, if there was such a super spreader event, we definitely had it at this party the other night because nobody was wearing masks and everybody was very close and people were talking to each other. And I asked around, and not everybody at the party was vaccinated,
Which is good.
Which, there were several people that were not vaccinated that don't want to get vaccinated, and even if you are vaccinated, you can still get the virus, even if you're vaccinated.
Of course.
However, you probably won't die. That's what the vaccine is good for.
Yep.
And I know we've talked about the fact that Omnichrome is in the Philippines now, and we'll get to this. We'll talk about this, I'm sure, a little bit later. But, Christmas is coming up now, and we have this issue. Last Christmas was a bit of a bust because of the virus and everything that was going on, and we were all wearing face shields, and we couldn't go in the malls and all. It was a really tough Christmas last year. So this year is supposed to be a much better Christmas. Now we've had the Omnichrome is in, and the DOH is saying that, well, maybe we should take a step back and we should stay at level 2. Maybe we should go to level 3. Maybe we should bring back face shields. I don't know if any of this stuff is going to happen. But in the middle of all this, when we're trying to see if we can figure out a way to have Christmas, then we have a massive super typhoon.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to talk a little bit about this typhoon that's going on, or that just finished up there in the Visayan region, Odette. Because before, of course, we had Yolanda was the last big super typhoon I remember, and the words keep coming out, Yolanda 2.
Yeah.
And if people have been watching, there hasn't been as much news about this one, but if you look at the pictures on Facebook, it is absolutely astounding as to what's been going on, especially in Cebu.
It's hard to hit.
Cebu is a big city, so it's much easier you get a lot of footage and videos and so forth from Cebu because it's such a big city. But I can't even believe some of the pictures that I'm seeing. Boats that are not boats, ships that are out of the water across the street. SM Mall looks horrible.
Yeah.
It looks like that giant, huge glass structure that comes out of the middle of SM Seaside is like blown apart. There was a picture of a Jollibee near my house in Cebu that is destroyed. I mean, it's gone. And I know those Jollibees are built really well. So, there's no electricity, there's no communication. Water has become a big issue. Food has become a big issue because people can't use their ATMs to get cash to go to the grocery store, and the grocery stores don't have electricity. So there's a lot of problems. I mean, the Gasano Mall that is near where I live, where everybody goes for their groceries, is really damaged beyond. I mean, it's going to take months and months and months for them to fix that. And people keep saying that the electricity will be on next week. Man, I saw the electrical poles laying in the street. That's going to take more than a week.
Yeah, I believe so, because it's not easy. I mean, plus, well, let me go back to that part when you say that you don't really see much it on the newspaper or whatever, or some just on social media maybe, because how can they send something up to some
because you can't send any pictures. There's no communication.
Exactly. So I mean, although they want to send something, but they can't. They're very limited. But we're getting news from our some brokers from the area, and even the church today. And I heard that there's really a big problem. I mean, in terms of communication, especially water.
Water is a big issue because a lot of water runs on electricity. The water in our house is based on electricity, and also the non-electricity water, the water that comes from the city, has a big problem. There's a big issue. They can't pump it out for some reason. I'm not exactly sure what is causing that, but there's a huge, everybody keeps talking about the water, and people are going down trying to get the big blue bottles, and they just aren't there.
Yeah.
Because they can't get the things to work. They can't get the things to fill up with water so they can distill it, so they can put it in the bottles to give it to people. And right now, I know in Talisay, in the local barangay where I live, where I have a place down there, like between 1 and 4, you can come and charge your phone. And that's it, because people don't have phone service.
Yeah.
You can't make calls. The winds were 190 kilometers per hour.
Wow.
190
kilometers per hour.
It's
not like in the States, it's miles per hour.
Yeah, this is kilometers per hour. I mean, if you think about it, you look at the pictures that are there now, cement pillars were picked up out of the ground. Giant metal structures are just crushed. It's just amazing how much power comes into winds that are that strong. 76 people that I know of, according to the last report, 76 people have died because of the storm. I don't know, let's see how that changes. 2 people died. They were in an ambulance going to the hospital when the ambulance was swept away by the thing. A man was pinned under a piece of wood when his house blew on top of him. A man was found, now this is a crazy story, a man was found in a tree when the water subsided. He was hung in a tree by his neck in between the branches. He got caught up in the thing. Landslide covered, buried a bunch of people. I mean, it's just, the stories are just incredibly horrific to hear. 360,000 people were evacuated from different places and so forth. So I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because, like I said, I haven't, seen a lot about it like I remember Yolanda being, but when you start to look on social media and you see the pictures, you realize how devastating this storm really was.
Yeah, and what we can do, well, to some people, I know they're raising funds, they're raising some, food stuff to be sent to Cebu and Mindanao area. So, and
just how do you get it there?
Yeah, the problem is how to get there. So that's why I heard from our church, just send cash. I don't know how they're going to get the cash.
They're going to get the cash.
Yeah, I mean, there's really a big problem until that. Well, if you're rich, Eric, maybe you can get a C-130 and bring all the stuff.
Yeah, let me get my helicopter.
That's not enough, Eric.
Yeah, and fly it down there, fill it up with cash, and take it down there.
Yeah, the cash, it will fit, but not the stuff.
I mean, I hope that I can get on a plane soon and get down there and help out my friends. I know there was an expat friend of mine who has a hotel down there, and his hotel was not that damaged, so he's opened his hotel up for free. You can go, especially any of the people that are part of the community there, they can go to his hotel, which is a nice hotel, and they can use the electricity for free, and for certain people, whatever, you can stay there. They're going to pack him in a lot to a room, and he's going to do that for a day or two to try and help out his community, the people around him that lost their homes.
Yeah, and that's a good thing about the Filipinos. When there's a disaster, there's a problem, we help each other. And we do everything we can, even on our own little way. And for those people who cannot share much, I mean, at least offer them prayers, for for them to be able to cope up with this, tragedy. This is not easy. Imagine it's just a few days before Christmas and you have this problem. I mean,
we got so many other problems, and now we have
COVID,
this problem.
We have Omicron, and oh my goodness, what else?
What else can go wrong?
Yeah, I mean,
Please,
the only thing that I can say, Filipinos are very resilient.
Please, nothing else.
Yeah, Lord, please
no more.
stop.
But in any case, we will, keep following up on this next week because, like I said, this story is not over and it's not going to be over soon. I saw the photos. This is not going to end in the next month. It's going to continue on because, like I said, there are electrical poles just laying in the street, and that is not going to turn around. And these buildings, these giant structures there that were destroyed, I mean, this stuff is going to take... Remember Yolanda? I mean, we watched it on TV for a couple of weeks, then we forgot about it. But people don't realize Yolanda took over a year. It took a year to get Tacloban back to where it was.
Takes time.
It was going to be. So, Cebu is a bigger city, a lot, but we hope that they we'll watch it as it unfolds to see how things came together.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, Lalie, what is going on in the world? What is happening in the world, or what are the questions that our viewers have for us here on this Christmas show?
Yeah, okay. It's not only we're now in Philippines is now the headline, but there are other headlines somewhere else.
There are other things going on in the world, and we are the World News Jam on DZRJ, so we will.
Yeah, okay, let's start with Grace from Manila. This is your favorite guy, Eric. Fox News Tucker Carlson is not giving news, but propaganda which geared to an audience of ignorant. What do you think?
Well, Tucker Carlson, yes, you are correct. Tucker Carlson, one of my favorite guys to talk about. I wouldn't say my favorite guy. I mean, I thought that Tucker Carlson was really done a decade ago when he was interviewing Jon Stewart, and Jon Stewart came on the show and said, "Hey, Tucker, you are bad for America." And then he explained why Tucker is so bad for America. And Tucker Carlson was shocked. He couldn't get a word in, and then he became the biggest laugh on YouTube. I mean, everybody was laughing about him. But I think what Tucker realized is that people in America, especially the less educated, racist, gun-loving, anti-abortion, right-wing, self-proclaimed Christian types love him. And it's just so weird because he's like a Poindexter type. He's so nerdy, which you think that that's not the guy that they would like, but they just love him. And he will say everything that they want to hear. And what Jon Stewart said back then, what was it, 10, 15 years ago, then he said he was bad for America, has turned out to be, in my opinion, very, very true. That Tucker is bad for America because people have died, because Tucker Carlson made them believe that the pandemic was not real, that it was just the Democrats trying to take away their rights. He said the election was stolen, and that January 6th, that riot where 5 people died, was just a trap set up by the feds.
What a guy.
He said recently that there was indeed fraud in the presidential election in Georgia, and that it wasn't a conspiracy theory, that it really happened. It was a conspiracy theory. I mean, it is a conspiracy theory. They have already proved that without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, I can go on and on about that, but he was saying that apparently people were dying from the COVID vaccine. Apparently. Very clever wording, because he can't get in trouble because he knows he's lying. He knows he's saying stuff that's not true. And he said, almost maybe the vaccine doesn't work, and maybe they're just not telling you that. Maybe. So he went on to. There was something else that he went to say, that everyone who gets the coronavirus is wearing a mask. So therefore, masks don't work. So you shouldn't wear a mask because you're going to get coronavirus even if you have a mask on. It was things like this that make what I believe, and a lot of people believe, that he is bad for America, for an audience who wants to hear anything that's against the people that they don't like, or what they appear the people that they don't like, even though it hurts them. And I think that Tucker Carlson and people like him are partly responsible for the reason why the U.S. was the worst in the world for a long time during the pandemic, that they had the most deaths and the most cases.
U.S. still #1 in COVID, because if you have people like that guy Carlson, you can have a problem because he has followers and they believe him. That's
a lot.
The thing.
He is what the #4 rated cable news show, which is surprising. I can't even believe it. I can't believe it.
Yeah, the problem with that is if you have how many Americans are like him? I mean, and when it comes to the news, so if you are going to say these things over and over, of course they're gonna end up believing you because they may think that maybe you're right. So that guy's good. He's brilliant.
The pandemic's not real.
Yeah,
I watched Tucker Carlson. He said
Yeah.
it's all a big fake thing made up by the Democrats. And so then those people don't get their vaccine, and then they're laying in a hospital bed dying going, you know what, I really shouldn't have watched Tucker Carlson.
And it's too late, man.
It's
dead.
too late now.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem. I think at least in the Philippines, we don't have much of that. Maybe we do, I know, but we are, I think we're smarter. I think we're smarter than Americans.
I think that it's in America it's based around a lot of times race and the pandemic and the two different political sides. Here it's different. You have the same stuff. You have misinformation. You have people coming on TV saying things that aren't true. It's different because you don't. I mean, we talk about guns and abortion and are you black and white and are you a policeman that killed a black man, and then Tucker Carlson comes on and goes, well, it's the black guy's fault. And a lot of people go, yeah, it's the black guy's fault. And then everybody hates everybody because of what they're seeing on television. It's easier to spread hate than it is to spread real news.
Yeah, that's why, I mean, why not do something about, if you have that kind of, let's say an anchor, if he's saying, so many negative, why don't you just kick him out? I mean, just an idea.
Yeah. Okay. Fox News, take your pointers from Lalie Tolentino.
Kick him out.
Kick him out.
Anyway, let's go to James from Negros. What city named the world most expensive for the first time, and why?
It's interesting you said this. This came out, I think it was this week. The most expensive city to live in the world. And if you had me guess what the most expensive city is to live in the world, I would have never guessed this city. It's Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv, Israel. I mean, I would think, I don't know what I would think.
I would think Japan.
There's places like Tokyo and New York City, France, Paris, France, which is incredibly expensive now. But Tel Aviv beat them all out because the value of the shekel now is soaring against the dollar, and local prices are way up on everything, like food, gasoline, everything is rising, land, rent, transportation, everything is up like crazy there. And part of it has to do with the supply chains. We keep talking about the supply chains, like making inflation grow. It's happening in the Philippines. It's happening in Thailand. It's happening in Singapore. We can see it happening. But for some reason in Tel Aviv, it's gone way up. And a lot of the problems that they're having in Tel Aviv is there's no place for people to move. So if it's too expensive for you to live in Tel Aviv, where are you going to go? There's no other big cities like, in the United States or in France or in Germany or in the UK. There's other places you can go. But everybody's, there's a lot of people, a lot of the population in Israel goes to Tel Aviv. And right now, like if you want to take a taxi in Tel Aviv, it's going to cost you a fortune.
Really?
To get in a taxi. If you want to buy a condo, you better have some major money now because it is ballooning off the shelf.
Wow.
In fact, if you want to go in and buy an orange in the grocery store, I mean, you hear these prices and they are just unbelievable. Like that's what an orange costs. It's like an entire day's salary here in the Philippines because of the supply chain, and they just can't seem to keep the prices down. And it's becoming an issue, and people think eventually there's going to be a giant explosion, not literally, but figuratively. Of course, in Tel Aviv, you never know. There might be a real explosion, but I mean that things are just getting so expensive that it's not going to match what the money that people have, and what are people going to do?
All right, now I made a decision, Eric. I'm not going to Tel Aviv. Or if I'm going there, I'm just bring
the
my
cashola.
Yeah, I know. I just bring my own orange, so I don't have to pay 500 pesos.
I
for
don't,
that.
yeah, I don't know what, if Jesus was alive now in Israel,
yeah, you're gonna get mad.
He would be like
All right,
knocking over the.
Okay, let's go to Edna
plates of coins.
Ilocos Sur. Why did UAE, United Arab Emirates, suspend multi-million-dollar weapon deal?
This deal, I think we talked about this before, this deal in the UAE for weapons from the United States, mostly those F-35 fighters. And those things are, they had a deal for billions of dollars. This thing was put together way before, Joe Biden was in. But there's an issue about that, the fact that the U.S. is okay with you buying their planes, but they don't want you buying other stuff. Stuff like, I don't know, Chinese technology. They don't want you buying that stuff. They don't want you to have Chinese tech or their information or stuff that's being transmitted through Chinese tech using their technology, especially their military technology. And so the UAE is like, well, we're paying for this stuff. We can do kind of what we want. And the U.S. has pretty strict rules about this. And so, there's another issue, too, about a lot of people in the United States, especially in the Senate and in the Congress in the United States, they're a little weary about giving an Arab state this kind of firepower because, you never know how things are going to play out in some of these Arab states. They seem very settled and very, regular, but you never know next week, who may be in charge. So, and these F-35 fighters are some of the most sophisticated weapons in the world. And there was an issue recently about a Chinese facility in the UAE, a facility, a business being run there, and they said that it's a military business. So the UAE, okay, all right, listen, we'll have them shut it down. And they shut it down. But the fact that this was working and it was in the UAE, it makes the United States a little weary. And so the United Arab Emirates had said, listen, we're not maybe going to do this now because we have a deal, we have deals going on with other countries. And the U.S. is like, hey, we don't want to do this if you guys are working with these guys. And so everybody's like, okay, all right, well, nobody's going to, it's, I don't know what to say about this, except everybody was like, okay, well, they got up and everybody walked away at the same time.
Okay, let me talk to them, Eric, and put them back together.
See what I worry about this too. I mean, this Chinese, they part of their technology is, spying. I don't want to say this because I get in trouble because but I can actually, if we had a whole show on nothing but this, it's like if you buy a TV and your TV's got a camera in it, you can do a zoom over your television. But maybe somebody else can also watch it. And that's what they're worried about.
Okay, there's no more security somewhere because of that.
Those Chinese are sneaky.
I know. Don't tell them. Okay, let's go to Beth of Pasig. Why Australian facing unemployment despite more jobs in the labor market? What happened there?
I know. Well, speaking of labor markets, at least the ambulances have people working here. But the unemployment in Australia is like 5.2 now. It's really high. And the reason being, take a guess. The lockdowns. There's all these lockdowns, and then they open up, and then they lock down again, and then they have the Delta variant, and then they lock down again. The Victoria shut down. I mean, that's a problem. In the UAE now, the Australia, they trying to ease all these restrictions, trying to get people back to work, and then they have to lock down again. Now they're opening up again. So the issue was in Australia before, a lot of these jobs that were there before, they're not there now. So people want to go back to work and there's no jobs there. But they created new jobs. And so there's a whole bunch of jobs, so it looks like there's a whole bunch of new jobs. But unfortunately, there's a whole bunch of people now that are out of work. So they're not meshing. And so now unemployment's gone up And it's getting really tough in Australia to get a job. And a lot of people were relying on those. They had that thing going on for a while. And I think we talked about it before about the government gave money to the businesses to keep people in work. Even though they weren't doing anything, they just kept paying the salaries. And people had like this extra income that they got from the government. Well, that's going to end.
Well, maybe, I don't know really the story. Maybe they created another type of job, maybe the job that they don't like. That's why,
This is something that I've been looking into about this particular thing, about the Australian stuff before, because they have all these new jobs, but yet their unemployment is going up. And it just doesn't make sense. Like, what, do people not want the jobs? They don't want to take a job? But it just turns out that right now, so many people in Australia need to work because people haven't worked for, like in the Philippines, people haven't worked for 2 years.
Yeah.
So if you look at the number of people that are generally out of work, now so many people are out of work and so many people need money that everybody needs to go to work now. And there's just not enough jobs available to match the percentage of unemployment people in the country. And that's what's happening to Australia. It doesn't make sense, but that's what it is.
Okay, so you guys, if you're thinking of going to Australia and find a job, this is not the right time.
I mean, right now,
maybe
getting a job everywhere is not that easy.
All right, let's go to George of Quezon City. What punishment can American get if you hide your tax or rather didn't pay? As per news, Donald Trump hides and he is the first president of the US to do so. What can you say, Mr. Lecain? Your favorite guy did not pay tax.
I mean, okay,
right,
all right, yeah. So taxes in America, it's like a maze, a maze of possibilities. I mean, the great thing is that if you're rich, you can work your way around that maze until you can find a way out of the maze without paying anything. And a lot of people do. The richest guy in America, the absolute richest guy in America, the guy that owns Amazon, he didn't pay any taxes last year. They figure out a way around it. People like us, they get in the maze and then you try and find your way out and you end up going to the most expensive way out of the maze because you're not rich. But some people are a master at getting out of paying taxes. And the key is to being good at being able to get out of taxes is don't get caught. And the problem with Donald Trump was he was very good at not getting caught, at not paying taxes. Then he became president. And then he became a very unpopular president. And a lot of people started just looking. If people hate you, they want to find something. And so they've been looking, trying to find something on Donald Trump. And they knew, everybody knows, rich people don't pay their taxes. So they're trying to find out, Donald Trump says, I'm so rich, I'm a billionaire, and I have this, and I have this. Well, wait a minute, how come he's a billionaire and he hasn't paid hardly any taxes? So people started looking into what Donald was doing, and now Donald is in some deep trouble. Because they found out that he was running a tax scheme. And it's not like, oh, well, we made a mistake and we didn't put that in, we put it. No, they were purposely running a tax scheme to get out of paying taxes. And what they were doing, if you want to try this at home, they were basically like the guy who was the main accountant for Trump. He was living in an apartment for like a New York apartment. It was like $100,000, whatever, in rent. And he didn't pay it. The Trump organization paid it. So was this compensation for his salary? Was this his salary? So basically, that's what it was. So he would take less in salary and then take stuff to Mercedes-Benzes that the Trump organization kind of gave him and his wife. All these other perks and all these other things that they had so they could keep his salary low. So basically, he's getting the money, not paying taxes on it, and then nobody's paying taxes, so it's a business expense. You can't do that. And they got caught. They got caught red-handed at it. And it turns out they were doing this to a lot of people, including the daughter of Donald Trump. So basically, they were benefit. So they're going all through his book. Now, the New York Times had an award-winning piece about Donald Trump's taxes and the fact that he how he was able to get out of paying taxes for, I mean, this goes on for decades.
Yeah.
And so now the, New York State Attorney, now they have been trying to get them on state tax evasion because at the time they didn't want to get the accountant on, they didn't want to get any of them on federal tax evasion because they're worried that they could get pardoned before Trump left office. So they're trying to get him on state stuff, but they did. They handcuffed him. They walked the main guy from Trump's organization, as many people from the Trump organization have been walked out with handcuffs on.
Wow.
And taken in and given. Now he's posted bail and everything, but there's a chance. I mean, a lot of this stuff comes on. In fact, here come the police now. A lot of these things come with mandatory jail sentences. So a lot of Trump's people are going to jail. I mean, we can go through the list of all the people that are gone to jail for Trump or been in part of his Trump organization. The question is, will they ever get Trump in jail?
Well, we have to wait for that moment. And my question is, should I ask you, Eric, about, is he really smart for doing this?
Is he smart for doing this, or is he a crook? I mean, the better crook you are for being? I don't know how to answer that question. I mean, how smart you are breaking the law, and is that a smart thing to do? They were pretty clever in how they did it, and if he had never been president, they probably would have never found it.
Yeah.
But he decided he wanted to be president, and now they have caught the Trump organization, and they caught him good. They don't arrest people from the Trump organization unless they've got them, because they don't want to, they don't want the Trump to come out and say, you see all this fake, thing, they're arresting us for no reason. So they made sure that they had them, and they did. Boy, the New York Times article just ripped them to shreds.
Wow.
So, here again, let's just see if they get Trump on any of this stuff, because it's his organization. And what Trump's very good at it going, hey, I wasn't running anything. I didn't do any of the taxes. It's all these guys. That guy did it. That guy. Or my son, he's the one that's that's causing all this problem. So let's just wait. We'll wait and see if they actually ever get Trump at anything.
All right. Maybe he need a lawyer. Maybe he need you. You can defend him.
That's what I'm going to be, a Trump lawyer and never get paid.
Yeah. Never mind. Okay, let's go to Jing of Makati. President Duterte withdraw from senatorial bid and want to retire after 40 years in government service and want to be with family. Isn't it best for him? I will answer that, and I will say yes. Yes, for me. I mean, he's been in the service for the longest time, and we talked about this before. Like if he's going to run for, it's not. He should retire as president, not senator, right? We talked about this before.
Yeah, I mean, I said before. You don't want to. He's at the top.
Yeah.
You don't want to take a step down. You're a general, and now you're going to move down to lieutenant before you retire.
Sergeant.
Okay. Here's my take on this, because I agree with you. I think it's good that he's retiring, but Lalie, don't you have to wonder how much of this is real and how much of this is like pre-planned drama?
Well, you know what? Now we've seen a lot of drama, so we don't know up to the last minute what's going to happen.
Every week it's something. I mean, his daughter just endorsed him for Senate, and then he quits.
Yeah.
So you just have to think, okay, wait a minute.
What's next?
I mean, sure, okay. If he quits the Senate run, then he's going to have a chance to work on the more presidential stuff, like the pandemic and stuff like that. But I just have to think, I mean, as soon as this came out, as soon as he said that, I'm like, okay, what's the real game here? Because every week, doesn't it seem like, Duterte's throwing us a curveball, and we're trying to hit the curveball right when he throws us another curveball, and then we're trying to hit that ball. And what does this have to do with BBM? And I think it might have something to do. Here again, I'm throwing out my conspiracy theories about why Duterte did this. He went to all this trouble to be the vice president, and then he went, and then he's going to be the Senate. And then, people say, he needs to do this because if he might be in trouble if he becomes just a regular citizen, because he's got all these court cases that are going to be piling up against him. And so, and then the whole issue with Marcos, and I don't want to go through that again because then you're going to disagree with me on why I think that Marcos is running for president and not Sarah. But anyway, I think that Duterte might be playing a little bit of both sides of the coin here, because he said, Marcos is weak, and Marcos, somebody may have done cocaine. He's throwing out a couple things out there to keep Marcos on his feet, because he needs him for when he retires. He needs to find who the candidate's going to be that's going to back him up and protect him after he retires. And I think this is really important to him. And it's very important, I think, for Sarah to win the vice presidency. But who's going to win the presidency? And most importantly, Tolentino, who is Duterte going to endorse?
We have to wait for till the last minute, because you don't know. Yeah, I mean, because somebody, one presidential saying, is sounding up like he will be endorsed, or maybe he want to be endorsed by the president, and that's the Isco, yeah, like, okay, they're saying the good things now. So, the thing is, this is politics, so you never know really. You don't know to the last minute what's going to happen. So, yeah. I mean,
Philippine politics. Oh, it's like your head's constantly spinning around in a circle, trying to keep to try to figure out what they're going to do next. Yeah. And I knew something was going to happen this week. I knew something. I didn't think that he was going to quit the Senate. That didn't occur to me, whatever. But I knew there was going to be something. There was going to be some big news. And I thought what the big news was going to be was he was going to endorse a candidate that we didn't think he was going to endorse.
Well, we will wait again, Eric. We don't know till.
I think he's going to endorse. I think he wants.
He will endorse, but we really don't know who. More or less, maybe, I don't know. I don't want to say anything yet, because otherwise they will say, I told you.
I think he's kind of, and I could be wrong, but he wants to make sure that Bong Marcos is a little nervous about not making a deal. Mm-hmm. So I am trying to making sure that I stay in the microphone here. But anyway, so I don't want to start a conspiracy theory, but I'm starting a conspiracy theory because it's fun.
It's really fun, but then we don't want to get into trouble anyway. No. All right. This is just an opinion. We're not.
We're just joking around Duterte.
Yeah.
Just like you do.
Yeah. Let's go to Ems of Cavite. Okay. BDO, or the Banco de Oro, more than 700 clients hacked, fraudulent transaction. Money transferred to somebody in Union Bank to buy Bitcoin. What do you know and think? It's an inside job? Man,
this is scary stuff. Mm-hmm. Isn't this scary? It's BDO. It's a puzzler. It is a puzzler, because for me, I don't know why. I don't know exactly how they were able to pull this off. Mm-hmm. And I've really looked because when this came out, I'm like, oh wow, this is stuff that interests me a lot. And I don't know how they did. One of the victims was an actual banker. Mm-hmm. So, was it an inside job? How could it be an inside job? I mean, it looks like. I mean, I can't make up. All we know is it wasn't a phishing scheme where they send you an email saying that you need to change your password, and so you change your password, but it turns out it's not the bank that you're changing your bank. But it seems it has something to do with those OTP codes, like when you transfer money, and they send you a code to your phone, and then you have to type that code in to where you're transferring the money from. Somehow they were able to get that code. And it says, don't ever give this code out.
Yeah.
And you think, well, why would it even matter if I gave the code? No, don't ever give this code out. Somehow they were able to get the code and send the money to Mark Nagoyo.
Yeah, Nagoyo. Nagoyo is such a fictitious name because it means in Tagalog that you are being fooled.
Fooling somebody.
Yeah.
So, somehow they were able to get the cash in it, and it was a lot. It was a lot of cash. I mean, it's like 50,000 here, 40,000 there. Yeah. So now BDO's doing the right thing. BDO, which I have to say, sometimes a really difficult bank to deal with, but they say they're compensating the people because it doesn't look like it was. Usually these things are the person's fault. It's the person's fault. They did something stupid, and then that's why they got hacked or whatever. They just, they replied to something or they downloaded something and they got hacked. But this doesn't seem to be the case. It seems to be I'm not sure yet, but it seems to be the bank's fault. So the bank is compensating everybody for the money that they lost. So all I can say is, man, this kind of thing is scary.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, because, and I have to say that the girl, one of the girls, whatever, she thought a thing that said, oh, you know, this money was trying to be transferred and it didn't work. And then she looked at her account and it was gone.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. There's something there. You know what? I have account here, BDO and Union Bank. I'll be really be scared if I have a lot of money there, right? But if I have only few, so I don't have to worry.
It's great being poor. You never have to worry about people stealing your money if you don't have it.
Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. If I don't have much, if I have, like I might be, oh my gosh, 700 clients of BD. Oh my goodness.
It's a lot of people. That's
yeah, I know. So I checked and I said, okay, thank God, it's still there. So
and they're
not
moving,
interested with my account.
And they're moving it over to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is incredibly hard to trace.
Exactly.
So those people were quite clever in how they did it, because once they trace the money, if you're moving money around at banks, they can trace it. They can find it. They trace it to Union Bank, and then Union Bank, you can close those accounts down. But once you've already bought Bitcoin with it, then it could be moved anywhere. It could be all over the place. So it's very hard to get it back.
That's why. That Bitcoin thing that scares me.
That is scary stuff. Boy, that would be the worst thing. So look on your phone and see that your account has been.
Yeah, we talk about Bitcoin most of the time, right? Before. Anyway, let's go to Jim of Pasay. Okay. The 2 cases of Omicron variant already in the Philippines. Should we worry, and what is your suggestion to Filipinos?
All right. Well, first of all, I would like to answer one big question. Is the Omnicrom virus more dangerous than the Delta virus? And the answer to that is no. Oh, wait a minute. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. No. Oh, yes. I could keep going on and on based on the stories that I have read from the different agencies and from the different countries. So one day it will say it's more dangerous than the Delta virus. And then you'll get a thing that comes out that says, no, it's not more dangerous. It's actually weaker than then the UK will come out with their latest that came out yesterday. The researchers are saying that it's not less dangerous in any way. In fact, it's just as dangerous and can spread even worse. And then you'll hear the DHO come out and say, well, okay, it's just the same.
Okay.
I don't know.
We don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying something. And then the second one is, will the vaccine protect us against this? And the answer is maybe.
Nobody knows yet. I mean
I read a story and I go, okay, I got it. And then you go back to Google and you go, oh, wait a second. And then you click on another one. And then you click on another one. And, I use like I said, I don't go to these fringe places. We check on I go to the DHO, a lot of the FDA, these things that I can really see that I can get the top scientists in the world. And honestly, I can't really tie anybody down yet to exactly the information that we need to give out about this. So it could possibly, they say that it could possibly be that the vaccine could help out with the Omicron. But one thing they know for sure about this Omicron thing is it spreads very, very easily.
Yeah.
And this is a problem. Okay, let's say it's a little less dangerous. Let's say it's less dangerous than the Delta virus. But if it spreads 5 times as much as the Delta virus, which is what they're saying, then, oh my God, are we right back where we started from?
Yeah,
I mean, this thing is in the Philippines now.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of scared with those parties.
Yeah.
Because you never know. Because, I know they're still contract tracing the people that these 2 people. Also, this is that's why I said, okay, although DOH said, okay, don't just make a virtual party, don't make crowd yet, because we don't know really. We don't want to go back to...
They've already said in the Philippines that, okay, they found 2 cases, but they believe that there's a good chance that it's going to be spreading around the Philippines in the next 2 months.
I hope not.
I mean, that's what they've already come out and said that. I don't remember exactly the commissioner. Somebody came out and made a speech about this, that they believe, I mean, if you use the way the virus is and the way the virus has worked before, it's almost impossible to stop it. Unless you shut down the borders of the country and you don't let anybody into the country ever, and everybody goes in and cements up their doors and windows and doesn't breathe any air. But other than that, it's almost impossible to stop, especially this variant, which is supposedly spread so easily. So we may be having lots of cases of this Omnichrome in the next couple of months. I'm not going to say that's what's going to happen, but according to the models, they believe that it is going to be spreading across the world by February. It is going to be the main variant of COVID.
Oh my goodness, non-stop? I mean, we're almost free here. We're having fun already in the Philippines. And
I know.
Those two guys came with the Omicron. My God. I mean, Eric, what are we going to do?
I know. And this has been going on for hundreds of years. Right now we're really focused on this one thing, but there has been viruses that have come in and they've spread, and then they dissipate and they spread. Now this one spread a lot, which made it, very, it's very famous now because it spread a lot, like the Spanish flu did back in the early 1900s. So I just, it's going to happen. I don't think there's any way to stop it. However, what we can do is, like I said, everybody gets vaccinated, everybody gets their booster shot, and there's a good chance that maybe we can just live with it. That we can live with it and not die with it. We don't want to die. I mean, if I get it, but I don't get sick, okay, fine. If everybody gets it and they don't get sick, that's what's called herd immunity. But we just don't want people to die.
Yeah, nobody wants to die yet. There's a lot of problems all over.
I would rather die from something else. Something other than the COVID virus.
Okay. Okay, let's go to Nina. Oh, this is from
having
Cebu.
too much money. I don't know.
Broadcaster from Cebu City, Osmeña, was shot dead while taking public bus. What do you know about this man? Do you know this guy?
I don't know this guy until now, because he's been all over the news in Cebu. He was on a beat bus, which those beat buses are great. They're small buses, and they'll go back and forth between like Talisay and Cebu. And he got on one of these beat buses, and the typical two guys on a motorcycle rode up beside the bus, and they took a gun and they shot him. Now, the person here, did they say that he had died? He was shot dead. He was not shot dead.
Oh, no?
Yeah, let's just clarify that. I believe he was killed in that thing. He was shot. There was another woman that was also wounded. They could be talking about that other journalist. There was a guy in Samar that was killed, a radio commentary guy that was killed outside. And there was another guy killed in Cebu.
This one is there's talking about Osmeña.
Yeah, Osmeña was not killed. But there's been several journalists that have been killed. Now, we've been talking about journalists getting killed in the Philippines, and why do they say the Philippines is so dangerous? It doesn't seem that dangerous because we're hanging out here in the studio, but for some journalists, it is very dangerous. And why did this, I think one of the questions was, why did they want to kill this guy? And of course, we don't know yet because we haven't caught the guys, and I don't know if they will ever catch the guys that did it. But this guy was not one of these, heavy political guys. However, he was talking a lot about the smuggling that's going on in Cebu, the vegetable smuggling.
Okay.
And that's a very touchy subject there in Cebu because there's a lot of money in carrots. Bringing in carrots from outside. There was a big issue in Subic recently with 80 million pesos worth of vegetables coming into Subic. And they caught them or something. They confiscated. I mean, these Chinese vegetables that they're bringing in is worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
And getting around, bringing them through the regular channels, and then selling them, and they sell them for super cheap. And so I know that this guy Osmeña was looking into that, and so I don't know why they shot him or why did they wanted to kill him, but it just it's tough being a journalist sometime, and I don't want to bring up Maria Risa again, but that speech that she gave about how dangerous it is to be a journalist sometimes in certain countries like in the Philippines, and how I don't know what more to say about this except the fact that this is bad, that so many journalists here have to worry about their life. And there's, there was I have to remember exactly where there was a journalist not long ago that was killed in Samar. I think it was a radio commentator was killed right outside the radio station. And there was another guy that was shot in Cebu. I've got to go back and look at all this. I just every month or so I hear about another journalist being killed.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to be a journalist. I just want to be the muse.
We're not journalists. We just talk.
Yeah, we just talk.
We just
talk
blah,
funny
blah, blah.
story. Yeah. All right.
Don't shoot Lalie Tolentino. And most importantly, don't shoot Eric Lecain here on the World News Jam on DZRJ.
All right. Now let's go to Rene of Cavite. Eric, you should ask this question. Oh, yeah, you should answer this question very well. How will you celebrate Christmas during this time?
Wow, that's a tough question to answer. Because last year, Christmas was a bust. It's like, oh, Christmas was just another day. And this year, we were so excited. We got parties going on. We have all our friends that we hadn't seen in like years that we were finally getting a chance to talk to without a mask on. And then all of a sudden, there's a new variant. And then all of a sudden we have this typhoon that comes and hits, that runs right through the middle of the Philippines. And it's like the Philippines can't get a break. And I was so excited about Christmas this year. None of us, a lot of us don't have a lot of money now because we haven't been able to work, for whatever reason. But at least Christmas we could get together with our families and we could do things. And now it feels like we are going backwards.
Yeah. Well, I really hope not, in spite of the, after the typhoon, and we have the new variant, and I hope this variant really would, I heard this from the church today, and they said, God, why don't you stop the virus? I mean, people are already asking questions,
yes,
right?
God, it's all your fault.
Yeah, something like that, but it's not. But
it's not.
Yeah.
No, we make our own. I mean, this virus, the different viruses, whatever. I mean, yeah, okay. They weren't brought about the world as a plague because of whatever reason, whatever religious connotations you may want to come out of it. It's something that happens naturally in the world. Okay, now it is kind of funny that it started out in a place that has a lab that studies only these viruses, and that's where it started. All right, we can talk about the conspiracy theories, but it's in the world now and it's part of us, and I know we're trying to learn to live with it. But it's just the only thing that gets me, Lalie Tolentino, is that it seemed that we had found a way to live with it.
Yeah.
And that, in Manila now, almost everybody's vaccinated. I mean, this was such a great news that so many people were coming out to be vaccinated. And then people in the provinces were starting to come around.
Yeah.
They were coming around and more people were getting vaccinated. Now, the vaccine doesn't mean you're not going to catch it, but it means that you're not going to die or maybe spread it as much. I mean, there's a whole thing about how the vaccine, keeps the virus at bay in your body. It's just that, we were on our way. And then when I see this new variant pop out, it just kind of made like, oh, no, not again.
Yeah.
And because the Philippines was going to open to travelers.
Yeah.
To, the girls and their boyfriends overseas that were supposed to come and spend Christmas with them. All the people are supposed to come back, and travel back to the Philippines for Christmas and see their families. And then all of a sudden, December 1st, we were waiting for it, and then it didn't happen.
Yeah. So what are we going to do for Christmas? I mean, we're used to it anyway. Celebrate it, maybe whatever way you want to celebrate it.
I mean, the good thing is, as opposed to last Christmas, now we're almost all vaccinated.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
And when you go out to all the Christmas parties, just be smart. Be smart about what you're doing. Realize that the virus is still here. It's going to stay here. Just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean you're going to not get the virus. So there's no reason to, okay, I can just willy-nilly walk around and, you know, breathe in and breathe out without a mask on.
Yeah.
Keep a mask in your pocket, but, you know, and we'll get through this. And Christmas can be good. I'm hoping it will be. I'm planning. I'm going to go down to Cebu, and what I'm going to do for Christmas, I'm going to try and help people. I'm going to go down and, you know, and go around my neighborhood and see if I can help people, whatever, through this problem that's going on down there. So that's all I can suggest. That's what I'm going to do to celebrate my Christmas. Lalie, Tolentino, I would like to say, for you, Merry Christmas.
Same to you, Eric, and to all our viewers as well.
To all the people here that are supporting us on the World News Jam every week. You know, we love getting the questions because we have such a very smart audience that sends us in our questions. So thank you so much for the questions this week. Thank you, Lalie Tolentino, for reading the questions. Merry Christmas to everyone out there. Please be safe, be smart, and me and Lalie here will see everybody next week.
The views and comments of the hosts and guests are not necessarily those of the station.